Listening learning strategies. Listening in English is very important because true communication takes place only when you listen attentively. Apart from that, when you listen, you use not only the language, but also your mind in the sense that you improve your thinking skills. In addition, being able to understand spoken language gives you immediate access to the latest information on what is happening in the world. When listening, try to identify stressed words and groups of words. Understand the message without necessarily understanding every word. Recognize words. Use your knowledge of the language and of the world to make inferences and connections between the different parts of what you hear. Identify the speaker's mood. Get the main point of what is being said. Identify the speaker's intention. Distinguish a variety of accents. Predict the content of what is going to be said by analyzing the general atmosphere, gestures, and mood of the speaker. Figure out the meaning of unknown words by analyzing the context in which they are spoken. There are basically two ways of listening. You can listen to videos, CDs, watch TV, and so on. You can also attend lectures and conferences where you have to display your listening skills. In other words, there are times when you listen and do not have to speak in response to what you hear. This is called one-way, non-interactive, or non-reciprocal listening. On the other hand, there are times when you engage in conversations with your teacher, your classmates, English-speaking friends, or native speakers of English. This is called two-way, interactive, or reciprocal listening. When you listen, you have to consider the level of difficulty of the material you're going to listen to. If the listening is too easy, you may lose interest in the task. If, on the other hand, it is too difficult, you may get discouraged because you will understand very little or nothing at all. You also have to measure the effectiveness of your process. Monitor your understanding of the listening text. Try to visualize the situation being described and take written or mental notes of what you hear. This will help you understand better. You should solve possible difficulties. In the case of interactive listening, you should ask the other person to repeat or to speak more slowly. In the case of non-interactive listening, you can rewind the tape, video, or CD and repeat it several times. You must reflect on how much you understood the listening and check if you completed successfully the tasks required. Repeat the listening exercises after some time and compare to what extent you have improved. One-way, non-interactive, or non-reciprocal listening strategies. Before listening, it is recommended to listen to texts with topics that are familiar to you. In this way, you will be able to anticipate much of what is going to be said. Predict as much of the content of what you're going to listen as possible. If you make a list of possible points, you're giving a purpose to your listening task. This will enable you to concentrate on specific parts of the text in order to get the information you're looking for. Based on your knowledge of the topic, you can write several questions that you expect will be answered in the listening text. While you listen, there may be a time when you don't understand a word or group of words. Avoid the temptation to stop the tape, because this will prevent you from understanding the general idea and also stop the flow of your thinking. It is much better to take mental notes and go back to the section on a second or third listening. Pictures, drawings, photographs, tables, and graphs are tools that can guide you in understanding the oral text. Listen to the text in order to get specific pieces of information, for example, proper names, dates, and numbers. Many times, the meaning of a word or expression that is new for you will reveal its meaning. In other words, the context will help you to understand what it means. The information that you get from the oral text will enable you to predict what is going to be said afterwards or to complete ideas. For example, if one of the speakers said, "There are several reasons for the rise in the price of gasoline," you would probably expect that what follows is a list of the reasons. Pay attention to whether the speaker is using a neutral tone or the tone reflects some kind of emotional reaction. When you listen to texts that report sequences of events, pay attention to their chronological order. Analyze what are the logical functions expressed by the connectors that the speaker uses. Taking notes while listening is a good strategy to help you to get the most of what you listen to. Many words are similar in the two languages. This should help you in your understanding of the text. After listening, it is really important to make a mental, oral, or written summary of the main points in the text. Write or say the speaker's ideas in your own words. React to the content of the text by agreeing, disagreeing, or criticizing. You can keep a listening portfolio in order to collect the notes of what you have read. These notes will show you how much you are progressing. Two-way, interactive, or reciprocal listening strategies. In the course of an oral communication, whether face-to-face, on the telephone, or via internet, it is quite possible that you don't understand something that your interlocutor says. Be frank with your interlocutor and tell him or her what your problem is. This is a universal principle of effective communication. Try to get into the other person's shoes rather than think of preparing an answer. Before you express your opinion or counter-argument, wait until the other person has finished. This, apart from being a basic rule of courtesy, helps you get a better picture of what the other is saying. Numbers are perhaps the language idioms that are most extensively used in the media. Think of how many times in a day you hear numbers, for license plates, temperature, prices, time, or telephone numbers. Therefore, knowing the numbers well and being able to recognize them in a conversation is a basic strategy that you should apply.